I'm just gonna twist. So I should have pretty close to that black line, so I hold that down. See it goes in towards the torso, the rib cage. Change the direction again, just grab it. So again, it's just this process of following a template, all right? We've already done like the hard work for you to kind of measure things out, and this will help you get a proportional armature. So now I have the spine for the back. So again, we're gonna hold this wherever it overlaps. This time I'm gonna twist it 3 times, okay? I have it written here if you forget. So once, twice, 3 times. So, and this time I have to go towards myself with once, make a little twist time, twice, 3 times. All right, that's the proper way. All right, now we're gonna do the hips. So right now this is the top of the pelvic bone, okay? Right here, if you can kind of feel that bone, that's where we're at right now. So now we're gonna drop this down vertically. So it's gonna grab it where that changes direction again, and then just bend that down. All right, so it does take a little bit of attention to detail, but this is not rocket science, right? So just kind of take your time, try to get as close to this as possible. If you don't do this well, like I had a student last period, I should have saved it. Like her legs were about 2 inches short because she made the torso like 3 times the size it needed to be because she wasn't following this, right? If you just follow this, it will lead you down a good path. All right, so feet, I have this, see how the feet go out? So I'm just gonna bend this. I'm gonna have my feet come towards me, so I'm just gonna bend it forward, all right? Legs should be the same length, so I'm just gonna line these up and I'll bend this one too. All right, now, you guys, a pop quiz, maybe you don't know, so I'm gonna ask, where can I, as a reference point on my body, where can I like use a reference point to find the length of a foot?
Forearm.
Yeah, forearm, right. So here's the forearm, right? So I just put my wire on that forearm and there's extra. We actually have done this, you should end up with a little bit of extra. Here's why we have extra. If you bend that extra down, that little bit, that ½ inch, is just enough to help hold your armature upright in a block of wood, all right? So you should have extra. So what you can do then is, you need to decide if I do this correctly, and I have both those down, then you decide as an artist, okay, which leg is gonna be down? Am I kicking a soccer ball, so is my right leg back, right? Am I gonna be like doing a layup, you know, on the left side of the hoop, so my left foot's down. So you decide what that's gonna look like, and then, so let's say I'm gonna have my right foot down, and I'm kicking a soccer ball, this one's gonna be back. So then I don't need this one on the left foot, so I just cut this off. Little tip, when you're cutting, don't have the wire pointed towards someone, it will shoot off, so just kind of have your hand cupped over it or pointed down, okay? And then drop the wire on the table and pick it up, throw it away, but the wire will shoot off. So there we go, that's it. Now arms, okay? So 9, same thing. And this video here, so that's one video. What I just did is this top QR code, okay? Same exact thing. This next one here, the arms, is this bottom QR code. So I just bent that wire in half, all right? I'm now gonna stick, this is a slight change, I'm gonna stick it off the table, all right? I use my fingers a lot to measure, so I know that my first knuckle is 1 inch, okay? So roughly about 1 inch, okay? And then I'm gonna bend it down so I like to have a little skateboard. Got it? This now is gonna go through the torso. My feet are going this way, I'm gonna put my arms the opposite direction, okay? I'm gonna go through it, not over it. So go through, and the reason why I bent it is now I can get the wire over the head. If I didn't bend it, I'm not able to do that. That's the only reason for that, okay? And when I put this wire on there, you're gonna end up with like these gaps. You kind of see where I have these gaps right here. We don't want those, that's when you just use your pliers, okay? So I'm gonna just hold this down in place. I'm gonna use my pliers, I'm gonna squeeze so I can kind of close that gap up, right? But then I still have like gaps now inside. So all I do is just pull the wire up and over the head, and I'll wrap it and I'm gonna pull it forward, okay? And so this is right there. I'm gonna straighten that out a little bit. Do the same thing on the right side. So you have a little bit of a gap. You see where my pliers are, that little gap right there? I close that up again. Now I have a gap right there. Again, I just pull up forward, and I wrap it around to where the shoulder would be. It's not like a zombie, okay? That's on there pretty tight. Just wrap it on there. If it's a little loose, don't stress, because when we build the foil up, the muscle mass, you're gonna be covering it up. It'll begin to tighten up, stiffen up during the process. But this right here is pretty tight. All right, so let me just do hands real quick, and then elbows, and then you guys will be in good shape. So you should have enough wire. So if I put this down, here's the shoulder. Where the shoulder is, following my template, I should have a little bit of extra wire. Okay, I'm gonna find the fingertips. I'm gonna bend that wire back twice into a loop, so I make like a mitten. Okay, like a little hand-ish kind of form. Okay, so same thing, and do the same thing on the other side. I'll just do one for now. Then the elbow. Go like this, I find the elbow, so I'm lining everything up. There's the elbow right there. So I just find that elbow joint, and then I can bend this. You can bend it, you know, if you're, let's say the arm's going up like this. Maybe they're playing a violin, so you want the arm to come out, and the elbow's gonna be down because they're kind of holding that violin, right? You kind of change the position of the hand. Maybe they're throwing a ball, so maybe this arm's pointing, right? Maybe they're gonna dab, so you can do whatever you want to do to position those. But just remember this, whenever you position your body parts, they're all angles. Our arms aren't wet noodles, so anytime I change my elbow, this is an angle change. I raise my arm, this is an angle change. So you wanna make sure you have crisp angles. I'm gonna show you the difference. Not a wet noodle where it's rounded like this. You wanna have that angle change like this. I know it seems like common sense, but people will do that. This looks sloppy. Excuse me. So, here we go. There's that. Let's make them dab a little bit. Okay, there we go. All right. Elbow, and here's my knee, and then my knee. Okay. If I want them kicking a ball, I'll pull it back at the hip, and I have an armature. Now, I wouldn't be dabbing as I'm kicking a soccer ball, all right? But you get the idea. Okay. Straightforward. You guys do that. When you're done, and I have a knife. Questions? Okay, all right. Not being sassy, I just want to make sure. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take the wire and we're going to bend it in half. So I'm just going to find the approximate middle, and I'm going to bend this in half so I have equal lengths. That's pretty close, right? Oh, maybe a centimeter. That's not that big of a deal. You just don't want to have it where it's like 1 or 2 inches shorter on one side. Have it as equal as possible. You're going to overlap it, and you're going to make a small loop. This loop needs to be tiny. Remember, this is an armature, so we build up material on top of this. So if you make this loop any bigger, then all of a sudden you're gonna have like mega mind. The head's gonna be huge, right? So we don't want necessarily mega mind. So I just generally say about the size of my pinky fingernail. That's a good size. I also have these templates here. We took a black Sharpie and we kind of drew the armature out. So if you actually see the little loop that's right here, okay, that's the size as well. So you can just kind of double check that if you need to. Easy. Now, just to help you out, we've also written on some of these, so we're gonna make the neck. Your skull is attached to your torso by your spine, right? So you have your neck there. So I'm gonna use now needle nose pliers. I'm gonna hold this right where these the wire overlaps. I'm gonna twist it twice, so 2 twists. If you forget, I wrote it on here also, 2 twists, okay? So like this is actually harder than it looks, but you can go once, 180, twice, okay? So I make it look pretty simple, but just if you need help, ask your peer. Good? All right. Now we're going to just follow this. I'm going to work upside down so you guys can see me do this. You don't have to work upside down. I was doing this for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to follow this black line. And so I'm going to use my pliers. And anywhere I see a change of direction, so like here for the shoulder, where the ball and socket joint is, right? It goes down vertically or perpendicular. So I'm going to grab it, and I'm just going to bend the wire. If you're noticing when I'm bending this, I'm using the tip of my pliers, not the base of my pliers. Okay, so it's going to be a little easier to grab it. Here's the twist.